So, Robert, please can you introduce yourself and tell me what your role is and what you do at Optical Support?
So my name is Robert Shroder, and I'm Vice President of Operations for Optical Support. My role, in addition to kind of the day-to-day operations of the company, are primarily engineering, contracts, and customer management, and new business development. And in my background, I have a master's in physics, and I've worked in large laser systems, display systems, and then in software analysis software for optical system design and analysis.
Thank you very much. And what does Optical Support do as a company?
So Optical Support, as the name may imply, is an optical engineering services firm. We specialize in the design, fabrication, assembly, and test of optical subsystems for markets like semiconductor, aerospace and defense, biomedical, commercial sensing. We have about 30 full-time staff here in Tucson in optomechanical design. We have a full CNC machine shop on site, and then a large clean room space for building the systems that we design. And if you'll allow me, I'll provide a couple of examples of things that, that
would
we've
be
done
great.
in the past. So one of the bigger systems that we've done to date was a large interferometer system that was used to test silicon wafers during deposition of computer chips or electronics chips.
Mm-hmm.
That system was about 7 feet tall. It weighed about 1,800 pounds.
Wow.
And those systems are now in use in chip manufacturing plants around the world. We've also done design and build and test of custom lenses that you can think of like, very highly specialized camera lenses for lithography systems and for ground and space-based imaging systems. The largest of those custom lenses that we built was a 25 element lens that weighed over 225 pounds.
So just to give the people at home a little frame of reference, your your camera lens for your Canon or your Nikon tends to have, maybe 7 to 9 elements, and they don't weigh that much nearly at all. So that's a pretty massive lens.
Yeah, it was quite an undertaking, and those lenses have to be aligned to extreme accuracy for the semiconductor market. So it was quite a challenging project for us. I'll mention on the small side that a project that we have in production now for the last several years is to build small laser diode illuminators that you can think of as, basically a fancy flashlight with a laser instead of a light bulb. And those are used in biomedical instrumentation. So despite the small size of the company, we actually touch, a number of different vertical markets.
Very nice. That is very interesting. Thank you so much for all the examples. That was really illustrative on what you do. So switching gears a little bit, what brought you and maybe what brought the company to Tucson? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's actually a very interesting story. Our president and founder, Mike Savard, in about 2001, was working for a large, well-known optics company up in Northern California. And his wife, Carol, was unfortunately injured in a very serious car accident. And knowing that it was going to take quite a while for her to recover, there'd be a lot of procedures that were required, they actually decided to come to Tucson out of Northern California for the sunshine, the dry weather, the flat streets, but also University of Arizona Optical Sciences Center and Tucson's reputation as Optics Valley played a role in the thought process. So they actually came here, even though they were quite young. Mike effectively semi-retired to aid with her recovery. And after being here for a few months and meeting some people in the community, he was contacted by a local firm to consult on an optomechanical design. And that circumstance back in about 2002 timeframe is what led to, to the founding of what is now Optical Support. And as I was thinking about that story, I did want to communicate that today Mike and Carol and their 2 kids are happily entrenched in the Tucson community. So she did in fact fully recover, and they've been here ever since, and Optical Support has been here since about 2002.
That is a great story. Yeah. What a coincidence.
Yeah, I promised Mike I would try to relay that successfully.
Very nice. So now in a bit more forward-looking fashion, you touch so many markets and you're so diverse in your product portfolio and in your abilities, what you do. How do you see that optical support affects the future of Tucson, the future of Tucson's community, maybe the community at large? So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, certainly we would like to believe that the growth that we've seen in the company in the last few years will continue, and that we'll continue to provide meaningful employment for optical and mechanical engineers coming out of U of A or potentially coming from elsewhere. That in that way we would be an active contributor to the community as a growing and thriving business. Kind of looking specifically at how some of the things that we're working on now would impact future technology. One of the things we all know is happening is that designers are continuing to try to develop smaller and smaller computer chips and electronics. There's always been this push to try to go to more and more transistors on a chip, or just smaller electronics in general. And again, we're working to build test and alignment systems for next generation semiconductor optics that'll be part of that push to smaller and smaller chips with more computing power. I mentioned, I think offline here, that these systems are a couple of the most complex systems that we've ever tried to take on as a small company, and are going to ultimately fit in a room-sized vacuum chamber to test these optical systems. We're also designing optical systems in all wavelength ranges, from the ultraviolet out to the long wave infrared. So on both sides, to the deep blue and to the far, far red of our normal eyesight visual system. And those optics will ultimately be used for Earth imaging and for Earth sensing, which is very important in now as we look at things like climate change, agriculture. It's a big business for companies and agencies to try to put satellites up to look at how the Earth is changing on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. And we're building systems that'll be used in those types of satellite systems. We mentioned that we're building little laser sub-assemblies, little flashlights, if you will, for biomedical, and those particular systems are used in a system for drug discovery for bacterial infection. So we like to think that we're also building systems that will have an impact on future medical advances, be it drug discovery or disease prevention, that the systems that we're building will have an impact there. So again, because we're working with some of the largest companies in the world in their respective fields, it ensures that OSI will contribute to the creation of state-of-the-art technology in a variety of different markets, and we're really excited about the future of optical support as a company.
Great. Thank you so much.